Shortly after 9 o'clock this morning, our crews arrived at 441 Dufferin for a working fire. In the course of that fire, one of the members of our first responding crew was overcome by a high level of heat while conducting search and rescue operations and was subsequently removed from the building. The information I have is that he was unconscious at the time of being removed, subsequently regained consciousness, and then was transported very quickly by our colleagues at Toronto Paramedic Services and is now undergoing medical care. We have senior staff at the hospital with the firefighter. The most recent update I have is that he's been listed in serious but non-life-threatening conditions, so certainly good news for us today. He'll continue to receive medical care. I'd like to introduce Deputy Fire Chief Jim Jessup, who's with me. Jim will provide an update on the status of the investigation of the fire.
Can you switch places? Just switch, yeah.
Sure. So at this point now, as we transition from breaking down fire operations, we are going to transition into the origin, cause, and circumstances. So the Office of the Fire Marshal is en route to initiate the post-fire investigation. Toronto Fire Prevention is on scene right now to initiate the post-fire inspection. So we will be looking at what caused the fire, where did it start, and to make sure that the building in question met all requirements of the Ontario Fire Code. So this will take, certainly at least a day, perhaps a number of days to determine all of those situations. So again, we'll be looking at origin, cause, and circumstances as to the consequence of this fire.
Were there any e-bikes or e-bike batteries found in there?
It is way too early to start that. We haven't even had our inspectors or investigators enter the building yet. They're doing their interview statements. We're obtaining building history. We're doing exterior photographs. So this is a very scientific and systematic approach. So we will probably not make entry into that building for several hours.
Neighbors say there was an explosion in the building. Can you tell us what that was?
Again, it's way too early to start. We haven't even entered the building yet. So again, the key for us right now is this is scientific and systematic. We have to collect our evidence. We have to interview statements. We have to go through our processes step by step with our partners at the Office of the Fire Marshal to make sure that the investigation is full and complete.
We heard from a neighbor also that he described this as a rooming house with 11 rooms rented out. Can you confirm any of that, or how many people?
I can't confirm right now. That will form part of our post-fire inspection and investigation. Certainly, classification of the building will form a major part of determining what sections of the fire code do or do not apply to this building. But at this point, without entering the building with our inspectors and investigators, we can't comment.
Did it look like extent of damage?
Again, way too early. We haven't made entry into the building. And that will again form part of the investigation.
So there could be more bodies in the building then?
No, I did not say that. We've already done our searches. Right now, the investigators and the inspectors have not entered the building yet. So there's absolutely nothing to suggest that there's anybody else in that building right now.
Can you describe to us the rescue operation for the firefighter? How was he pulled out?
The reports that the chief and I received, a Mayday was called, extreme heat. They followed their training. The fire crews in this area are exceptional at what they do, and they receive the great training. The firefighter was removed quickly, expeditiously, right to Toronto Paramedic Services and Toronto Police, and was transported. So certainly their training, the equipment, and the staffing we had on scene all paid off.
Was he rescued from the ground level or the second floor?
Right now, I don't have confirmation. I wasn't on scene at that point.
Okay, inside this building, does it look like it's sectioned off into a bunch of different bedrooms or rooms?
Again, we have not been in the building. Our fire inspectors and investigators will start making entry over the next couple of hours, and at that point we may have further information. But this now will all form part of a systematic, comprehensive investigation for origin, cause, and circumstances surrounding the Ontario Fire Code.
Do you have an update on the others that were treated?
Sorry?
Do you have an update on the others who were treated?
The civilians, no update more than the chief and I had earlier this morning.
Taken?
2 were treated. We were told for minor smoke inhalation.
And how many civilians actually left and escaped on their own?
I do not have that information right now.
The age of the firefighter and how many years of experience?
We don't have that information right now. This is still a transitioning and rapid moving scenario, and so we still don't have that information yet.
Do you have a temperature how hot this fire was?
No, we didn't. We obviously didn't have our equipment in there to measure, but certainly, as the chief indicated earlier, these types of fires and these types of structures can escalate from several hundred degrees up to 1,000 degrees in a very, very quick time period.
And what can happen medically to a firefighter? I mean, it sounds like this firefighter passed out.
Again, I can't comment on anything medical. All I can say is our colleagues at Toronto Paramedic Services and Toronto Police worked feverishly. They got him to hospital. He's as the chief said, he's in serious but non-life-threatening situation, and he's certainly in great care right now.
So what about this fire made it so hot? Was it the structure of the building, the size, or something inside?
Again, until our investigators and inspectors get in the building, we can't comment specifically on this. But again, the chief made a great point earlier. These types of fires are not out of the ordinary for Toronto. And with modern furnishings these days, with polyurethane and upholstered furniture, the time to flash over now is in less than 6 minutes. So this is why Toronto Fire Service is constantly reminding its citizens to make sure you have working smoke alarms so that you can exit. And this is another reason why we have to have sufficient amount of firefighters on scene in the quickest time period because of the contents in buildings today.
Sorry, you said flashover. What does that mean?
Flashover is when all the contents in a building can reach their flammable and ignition point. So again, we don't know what caused it. We don't know what's inside the building at this point. That will all come out during the inspection and investigation.
Did this building have working smoke alarms?
Again, that will all form part of our investigation and inspection. We have not been inside to verify that right now.
Can I get your name and title? Can you spell it for us?
Sure, it's Jim Jessup, Jessop, Deputy Chief.
Can you tell us how you've combated this fire after going inside, pulling the firefighter out, calling Mayday? What happened after that?
Well, again, with the crews that we have on scene, the crews were able to remove the firefighter quickly, while at the same time performing all of their firefighting operations, conducting their primary searches and rescues, and suppressing the fire as well.
Was it did you have to fight the fire from outside because you couldn't go inside?
No. There's no indication of that right now. Again, we were not on scene at the time. Certainly the crews did an admirable job under very difficult circumstances, and candidly, this is what they do every day.
Deputy Chief, what goes through the minds of firefighters and even the top brass when a Mayday call goes out? There must be an incredible level of...
Well, I think that's a fair question to the fire chief right now. I mean, the chief's on scene right now, and I think as the leader of the organization right now, that's a question best answered by the chief.
Sure, I can take that. So
Yeah.
there really isn't anything that matters more to us than the health and safety and the welfare of both our citizens and of course our firefighters. So this morning was somewhat unique. Both Jim and I were en route with a number of our colleagues to join the Ontario Fire Marshal at the launch of Fire Prevention Week. It was actually the media kickoff this morning at Station 333. We rerouted from Station 333 to come to this fire as a result of hearing of a Mayday. A Mayday for us is about as serious as it gets, and whenever there's any indication that we have injuries, either minor or certainly critical injuries to our firefighters, that's an absolute top priority for us all.